Okay, I'm going to do a simple tutorial on how to use Rebirth software for the iPad. So we'll go ahead and launch that. Rebirth is a propeller head software that simulates the vintage Roland machines, the 808, the 909, and the 303. We're going to select a silent default song. That gives us a blank palette to work with to start off a new pattern. So we'll get that loaded up. You'll see when you look at the unit on the left side here, there are some pattern banks. You can store 32 patterns for each unit. So you've got 8 patterns in 4 banks. In the middle you have the 303s, 808, and 909. On the right side here you've got a mixing strip. With this mixing stuff you can patch into several of the effects that are on board. There's a set of PCF faders here that you can use. There is a delay that you can mix in with the delay knob. There's also a distortion and a compression. So let's get started. We'll make a really simple drum beat. When you tap on any of these, for example BD is the bass drum, you can either tap the little indicator that has the 2-letter acronym, or you can use the wheel to select which one you're going to be editing. So we're going to do the bass drum, add a couple bass hits here, do the 1 and the 3. So we've got a bass drum sound. You can adjust the tone and the decay. I personally like to run the bass drum through the distortion patch. It really fills it out quite a bit. I'm going to change it so it's not quite as distorted. We'll take it down a little bit here. I'll add a snare. Press the snare drum indicator. It's a little loud, so I'm going to turn it down with the level knob. On the snare you can adjust the tune of the snare and the amount of snap that it has. Now we have kick and snare, so I'm going to set up some cymbals. You can see the lights that trail along the bottom here. That's the 16th notes that are present in the pattern. By tapping on each of these buttons, 1 tap will turn the button orange, and 2 taps will turn the button red. So orange has a softer attack velocity, and the red is a little bit louder. So you have a little bit of control there. For these closed hats, you can adjust the decay on those. I'm also going to add an open hat right here. Okay, so now we have a pretty simple pattern going, so we're going to add some melodic content. Unlike the 2 drum editors, when you're using the step sequencer, you have to edit in steps for the bass. So you have a step button that takes you forward in steps and a back button that brings you back. You also have to tell it whether you want to use the 16th note or the 16th note rest by hitting the button. So I'm just going to build a D minor chord. So we'll start on D. I'm going to go up 2 steps. So now I've got a basic arpeggiated D minor chord there. I'm going to use the next sequencer to put in a square wave, and we'll do a little melodic rundown that happens after the arpeggiated D. So we'll start on step 9, and I'm going to start with the 5th, that's A. So I'll start with an A here. And I want that to be up an octave, so I can press the up button. Alright, so now we've got everything programmed in. You can also add accents or slides if you want to accent a beat or have one slide. I kind of want this fifth beat of my arpeggiated chord to slide down, so we'll make that A slide. Okay, so that's a pretty decent line. You can automate or you can control tune, cutoff, resolution, envelope, decay, and accent. Now if I use the PCF, then my control is with the faders. And these faders can be automated, and so can the volumes and the panning and all of that when you're working in the song mode. But right now we're just building a pattern. You can also take your pattern and you can edit them with the pattern edit feature, which allows you to copy patterns and paste them. So I can take my little melodic line, the little run chromatic, and copy it and paste it into pattern 2. And then there are some randomization and alterations that you can do for compositional techniques. So if I want to randomize or alter the pattern, I can alter. So now I have two different patterns here that I can switch back and forth between. That's a pretty basic overview of how to program a pattern in real quickly. You can change the patterns while you're in the songs, and again, you can set up the song mode and you can create full productions using this application. It's pretty nice. You can do an entire song. I'll probably do some more videos that discuss the effects in more detail, and definitely one on the song mode, so you can see what to do when you have all of your patterns in place and how you can manipulate those and use those for live performance. But it's a great application. I'd definitely recommend. It's only $15, so if you have an iPad, definitely worth picking up.